Most smart appliances are ridiculous. Companies add an app and a bad Wi-Fi connection to an existing design, and then they call it smart. That's where I found a number of small appliances from Govee that have helped to manage everything from heat, humidity, and air quality. But they come with additional features that move you beyond an app connection and into really smart appliances. But it's even more than that. I'm going to show you how and why. Now, I can't live without these. Govee's released a number of sensors and a number of automation options that make it so you don't have to touch anything. Hello automators, thanks for tuning in again. I have to thank Govee for sponsoring today's video, but please understand that them sponsoring this doesn't mean they're getting a positive review from me. You're gonna see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now let's have a look at 3 heaters for this winter. These are our 3 units. This is the Max, and you can see the little fireplace there. This is the Pro, and this is the Light. Now each one of these, obviously a different price point, and on top of that, they have some different features, but they all have a few basics. So this is the Govee Space Heater Light. Now this is obviously a smaller unit. It's got a metal mesh here on the front, and it's got a full control panel on the top. Plus it has a handle here, and it has an onboard temperature sensor that enables a lot of the features. Something I really like about this unit is down here, there's a little fold out stand, and now you can see it's sitting totally different. All of these heaters have a physical control on the device, or a set of physical controls. So I just hit the power and I can turn it on and off, and they actually have a 15-second cooldown, but I can move through the different modes. So I just moved over to the low heat mode. This is medium, and this is high. And of course, these things are reflected in the app as we make these adjustments, or if we make them from the app, they're reflected here. Now I just put it into an automatic mode, which uses that onboard temperature in order to control it. So, you know, if I put it below the temperature in the space, you can see, okay, target temperature is lower. It's gonna turn this heater off. It actually already has. You can see that the interface there's nothing lit up. So it's just going through its 15-second countdown, and then it'll turn off. Now the app also has a number of different features that you can do on the display itself. So there's scheduling, that one has to be done in the app, but timers can be done right here. So all I gotta do, hit that button, you can see, turn off in 1 hour. And as I keep hitting that, it'll increase it, and of course I can just set it here. There's also a child lock, so I can turn that on in the app, and actually I can turn it on physically on the device, but this stops the device from being controlled physically. You can see the little flashing anytime I try to hit that. Now to turn that off, I can hold these 2 buttons, and you'll see that turn off. Now with the display, it's obviously not very bright with this unit, but I can turn it off. See, the lights are off except for the power button. And then I can also schedule when that's gonna be on. So it can always be on, or I can choose to turn it on within a certain time period. Now here's the Pro, and there's a few reasons I really like this model. Number 1, this is a push button, but it's actually a control dial. So I'm now in the automatic mode. You saw it say AU there, and I can adjust the set point for the temperature control just like that. But this dial does much more. So if I go and I press the light button, which is way down here, I can control the brightness of that light. So that's all the way to 100%, and I can just dial it down until it goes off. So that's the lowest light level. The same thing happens with the timer function. So here is me shifting how many hours I would like it to remain on. And just so you see, so the target temperature was reached, it's gonna stop the heating, it's just doing its 15-second countdown here. Here's where things get a little different with this unit. So you see this moving across here, this is called the air deflector. And I can set different speeds, plus I can set its range for how far it's gonna move across the whole unit. So this is changing the direction of wind flow, and I can change it here. So just pressing this button turns it on and off, and you can see there's a child lock function there as well. Now, it's important to note that all of these heaters have tip over protection, 24-hour automatic shutdown, they have overheat protection, and what I'll tell you is these two units here, the Max and the Pro, they don't get as hot as traditional heaters on the front here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the technology that's powering that, but this is not something that instantly you're going to get like this terrible burn off of, and I think that's really important. And another way that this is a little bit of a different heater right here is a leg. There's another one at the top I've already put out, and then you can just set this down on its side. And there you go. Now you've got this heater that can sit like this. A lot of households, I think, are gonna like that feature. One other thing that is specialized about this is the night light. And it's not like you're just getting a couple of effects. There's actually quite a few. And the heater's not on right now, neither is the fan. So it can actually just be a light source. And you can decide on how bright it is right here in the app. So you can see how big of a difference that is. Now we're on to the Space Heater Max, and there's the fireplace ambience mode. You can control the brightness, and there's a few different features. Now, I think in general, you're probably just gonna leave it at 100%. I really like the candlelight feature. I think that kind of works the best with this. But the other big feature, I'm just gonna turn the unit on here, put it into fan so it doesn't blow me away with heat, but I can also turn on the oscillation feature. And now it'll sit there and it's gonna go back and forth. You see how much range you actually have with this. And again, it's not getting so hot on the front here. It's not hot at all down here. It's just a nice looking effect. So I think this one's really great for the holidays, and its display works a little bit different. So I can turn off the oscillation like that. I can turn off the fireplace mode like that. I have my on and off right here. But when I'm in the different modes, so there's mode 1, 2, 3, here's my auto. Now I can change the set point for the heating level that I would like. And I could do really the same thing with the timer right here. So I've turned that on. Now I've got a timer. And now I can change how many hours it's gonna run for. So all three of these, they really have a different reason, a different way that they're gonna fit your home. I think they all look nice. I like the handles on them, the temperature sensors, but I've got more to show you. Okay, so you've seen the basics, but here's why I really like these heaters. I like that they use PTC technology to heat up. It's efficient and it allows them to be safe because that heating element is contained inside the heater's housing. The air is dispersed throughout your room with a fan that's not very loud, and I never feel like I'm being dried out with this hot air blasting across me. It's just ambient heat that builds in the room. And then for me, the smart features really push these to that next level. The automatic control method is really great, whether you use the basic version, the range control, or the maintain feature, which just gets that temperature right at the right spot and keeps it there. But Govee has allowed us to pair some of their temperature and humidity sensors with these heaters. This is so important because it allows you to put a temperature sensor wherever your coldest spot in the room is. And then the heater is controlled based off of that. Now the sensors are also paired directly with the heater, so there's no internet involvement here, or no requirement for the internet to be available. And my personal favorite is the new Govee Presence Sensor, which allows us to run automations that control almost all of the features on these appliances. And they do so when we've entered into the room or even into a specific part of our room. And even better, when you leave, you can set up the reverse automation so that things just turn off naturally and don't waste that expensive power you're paying for. Now this presence sensor has been really good for me, and there's this distance adjustment in the settings. That means you can set it really accurately for where and when you'd like the heater to come on. Oh, and these sensors can turn on and off all of Govee's lighting too. Now, I'm gonna show you a couple of automations with these presence sensors, but these heaters and all of the devices from Govee connect to Google and Amazon as well. So you have a lot of options there, specifically with Amazon. The integrations are really good because you have access to all the different features you would expect within Amazon's routines. So you get to use everything from Amazon to control these too. Govee also has a ton of other home appliances that can work in much the same way as those heaters. Now let me show you those. This one is the Goveelife Smart Pet Air Purifier, specially made for pet owners. This is the mini. Obviously it's made for smaller spaces, quite compact, and has one interesting feature. This is the Govee Smart Humidifier light. You can see it's got a little light on and actually has a really interesting feature. With the Smart Pet Air Purifier from Govee, you can see I have physical controls on the device and they're updating in the app extremely quickly. So I can move through low, medium, or high, back to low if I keep hitting, and I have an automatic mode. Plus I have a sleep mode that I can turn into, and there's the button right there, and a timer, and you'll see the timer updating in here. The pet lock can be turned off here by holding on the button just for 3 seconds. You can turn it back on the same way. Plus I have my filter life, and I can turn this display off based on a time period. So this is really nice to not have these in the middle of the evening all showing up. Because this has its own air quality monitor on it, you're actually getting that readout out of the app as well. On the side of the device, there are handles on both sides, and this is about the only real maintenance that you have to do. You see it's saying, hey, open this up every once in a while, every 2 months, and use a cotton swab dipped in a little water just to clean inside of there. The other piece of the maintenance is the filter. Now this comes off very easily, and then you're just pulling this filter out. It is a single filter, and it's an H13 HEPA filter, and that is very important. With the Mini, we really have the same thing, except it's a little bit of a different interface. Now, you can see I'm in sleep mode. I can go to low, I can go to high, and if I want to adjust modes here, this is just how I cycle through. So that's the only real button on there. Now, both of these have tip over protection. You'll see that little red light come on if you ever tip this over, and then it's gonna stop. The custom mode is really impressive. This allows you to set a sequence of different speeds and different time frames that you would like this to go for. Of course, you have all the same features. The big difference here is that you're gonna wanna pair this one with an air quality monitor. Now, the other big difference, and you know, this is something that not everyone will love, is the power cord is up here, fairly high up. But this piece right here, I love. This is an essential oil pad. You put that in there and actually it disperses really well. I've really been enjoying that component of this device. And when you go to replace the filter, it's as easy as that, and this is the single filter you're replacing. We're getting all hazy here with the Govee Humidifier light, and you're noticing a pretty consistent control scheme. Now, I've already paired it with an air quality monitor, but it's just sitting in manual mode, and the mist level control it does really change things in terms of how much is coming out. You also have a custom mode again where you can control the mist level for a period of time, and this really helps you to kind of set a structure for how you know maybe a room gets humid. But there's an even better feature that I'm going to show you in just a moment. Now, it does have nightlight control, so this one has a few effects. They're not really spectacular, but I will say that when your water level's kind of lower, you can actually see it with the light in there. Now, one thing I want to say about this is, number one, this is a very easy tank to deal with. You can see the max line near the top. This is very easy to lift out, okay? And obviously it's going to react when I do that, but this is not something that's too heavy, and I find a lot of humidifiers just too big, too heavy. The other thing that's really great is you actually put essential oils down there in the basin. You just put some drops in there and it will actually make your room smell exactly how you want it. Those are the basics, but here's why I really like these. The Smart Pet Air Purifier can live on its own and be a standalone appliance with some really great features, while the Mini really should have an air quality monitor paired with it in order to enable its automatic control mode. But they both have this really important feature, or at least I think it's important. See, in industrial facilities, our air management systems had to make sure that the air in a room was exchanged twice in half an hour. That's exactly what the high efficiency mode does with these, as it exchanges the air in a room size that you set 2 full times. Then, when combined with the energy saving mode, it'll just turn off the air purifier and not waste your filter life or energy. The humidifier has maybe the most impressive feature of all, but it only becomes available when you do pair with a sensor from Govee. Then it gets its own auto mode, but it also has this little checkbox called comfortable sleep. When you turn that on, the humidity in your room is adjusted based on the temperature. This keeps you comfortable. And again, when you combine it with that other little checkbox, the auto stop feature, it'll just stop pumping out humidity and wasting water and energy. As with the heaters, I have a few automation ideas for you. These could be used with the heaters as well, and I think especially this first idea would be very beneficial with those. Now, most people don't know this, but NFC tags can be used with all of these devices. You can simply scan an NFC card into Govee's app, and that lets you place all of these devices into whatever state you would like. So you can have an NFC card to turn things on and another to turn them off. If you don't have any of Govee's air quality sensors or their temperature and humidity sensors, Amazon produces a really great device that you can use to drive automations in their app with the purifiers. Of course, as always, Govee's device has all of the different features you need in Amazon's app. And Google actually becomes a really good option for the humidifier. That's because you can have humidity sensors drive your automations in Google Home. So you can start and stop the humidifier based on the humidity coming from a sensor you trust already. All of the links are down below in the description for everything you've seen here today, and I hope that this has been really helpful for you to decide on a couple of smart appliances. But I have another video that shows all of the different smart appliances that make my kitchen a really nice connected experience. Check out that video right there because it's a great one, and you'll even see my little dog Gidget. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, don't hate, automate.